Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. This is Thursday, it's September the 12th. This will be our chart lesson for today. It's been really kind of a slow day. There haven't been a lot of entries today, but there's been some pretty good entries here. Um, it looked like we were in a trading range. Really, when we bounced here, that's when I, felt like we were in a trading range. I didn't like buying this particular bounce because that was really the first test of this area, and I was really looking for prices to test this, which you see we finally did, and so I would call this the range at this point down here, but early on it was up here, so I'll put it up here for now just as we talk about it. But that's why I didn't like that bounce right there. That was really just the first test of this low. But when we bounced here again, it was worth taking, and it got just enough to get the scalp, and then it turns back down again. So, but let me back out here a little bit, get a little better picture of it, and then let's talk about the trade. So, and actually, once we broke lower here, I was looking for a measured move of this range, and you can see I was looking for here, and you could have measured down to here and it would have put it a little further, and we didn't get there. I mean, we may get there yet, but we're not there yet. So at this point, so let's talk about the trades, and we'll go. The first trade I really saw, I was really tempted to take this short here, and I was even more tempted to take this one. But when this didn't go lower here, I scratched this one and I just waited, and then it looked like it was going to go high. I didn't want to go long here. Um, but because I was really thinking, hey, we're probably going to get a measured leg down, but it looked like a short trap at first, and all it did was turn out to be a long trap, and then you got this big bearish bar. So that was the first trade I really liked there, and relatively easy scalp. You might have got a point or so or two out of your runners depending on how you managed them if you exited down here, which is you might have considered that. You might have even what I was hoping for was we'd get a measured move, which would have given you a little bit more there. You can see, but we couldn't get through there. We just made that little one tick trap. Um, so when this bar closed, I just exited and took what it gave me. A little over a point, maybe close to 2 points, I think. But that's the way it goes. And then then we came back up here and turned down again. But I never really saw a good entry here. You might have thought about just entering off this bar, but I think that's really risky. Then you had a double top, but look at all this overlap, and you see what happens. It gets hung here, and even if you took the trade here on this double top, it would have worked, but you would have had to ride this out. And we had this little, what I saw as a channel here too, and so I really thought we'd probably get a retest, but you see all we did was retest the low of the little channel there, and then it turned back down. And look at that big bearish bar. You can't ignore that. Good place to go short. That was really one of the better setups of the day. It moved down rather, a little quicker than some of these other trades did. And guess where it bounces now? Now you've already had a double bottom there and a trap once, so when it bounces there again and closes on its high, you got to like that one. Again, it only got enough for the scalp, but there's plenty of room to get out before getting back there, and you did get an easy scalp out of it. It had to get that one tick, and then of course when it breaks higher and turns down and goes out the other side, I had a stop waiting right there. It was a little close to these lows, but I like that kind of trap really right there. It's a type of a trap. It's really not a failed second entry long, but there's your first entry, and then that's another reason I like this bounce. It's the second entry. But when you had all those matching highs and it turns up and then goes straight out the other side of that bar at the same one, I like those kind of setups. And you might have thought about a limit order. You would have got filled right back to the close, which would have been right where the stop was if you waited on this bar. So you still could have got the same entry. I thought about using limit order, but when it went on through there, usually those don't hang around, they go on. And even though there's support there, look how that went straight on through. So I was tempted to draw this one in to make this one green, but I really, you see this trend line coming down. We aren't at the low yet, and generally, each low will go a little bit lower most times. And so I really thought we were going to break on through and move on down. It didn't go exactly that way, but you got enough for a scalp, and then of course it comes back and gets the break even, stops, and then goes exactly where you think it's going to go. I did draw this one in green. The only reason is that's not a very good setup bar, and by the time this one finished, you got to go short way down here at these lows, and you know, on a breakout, and you see what happened. It broke out and it comes back and it tries to trap people. So this one was a little bit more aggressive. This was the better way. You can wait on the breakout pullback short, and this really was a breakout pullback short, but this was a better one here. It closes on its low, and you are going low, short at the very low, but you got to realize this channel's in play now, because we've, look at all those bars coming off that. I mean, it's obvious, and this one closes right at it. It's obvious this is a good channel, and so we're probably headed to the other side, and guess where it bounces? Right on the other side of the channel. And I didn't mark anything after that. Notice we got a failed second entry long here, so we may make this retest yet, but you got a second entry short and you got a failed second entry long. There's a lot of overlap right there this late in the day, and it's real tempting to just say, hey, I'm going to jump over here and take this short, but I'm just going to watch it. I've already got my target for the day, so I'm just going to watch it because it is real tempting to go short right there. But they could just be trapping people to the short side and going, it's just not a very good setup either way. Look at all that. There's too much indecision there. But back to this trade, again, we're looking, once prices came off the high side, where are we looking for them to go? To the low side. And this is where you'd want to exit, right on this touch down here. And you might have even, this was real close, so you might have even considered exiting on that one. But you see, it did go on down and touch that low, and then it's been rallying ever since. And you got two legs up. This was a second entry here, but you know, everything's back above the EMA. We're back inside of this, and it's really holding. You can see that it's holding across there. We can't even get back to test that yet, so I'd be real leery about going short right there. And that's really where I call it a day. I haven't seen anything else that was worth taking here. You might have considered going long here, but I think it was real risky. It turned out to be a nice two-legged correction right there, but I just think it was real risky. There's not a very good setup bar there. You might have waited on this bar and used a limit order, and you see it would have worked exactly by that one tick, and you could have ridden that up. But even that was just, I just think it was really risky, because there's a big chance you come back and test these highs right here and it turns right back down again. Because I do see a retest of this channel here, right here, but I don't see a retest of this low, and that's what I really thought. This was a good enough down move that went on through these lows that I thought we'd get a retest, and we may yet. There's still a couple hours left in the trading day, so we may still get that, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me to see us bounce here and get back in this trading range again, and maybe make a failed break out the high side just about the same distance. Or even keep going higher, because the trend has been up, you can see. So the key is not getting trapped, and we talked about that yesterday. Just remember, when you notice that if you're inside a channel or you're inside a range, you know, once it starts moving up, you're really not necessarily looking for another short until we get to the high side. And then once you get to the high side, you really got to be careful looking for any more longs until you get to the low side. You can see that right there. This is the only one, and the only reason I like that was because of that channel there. So, okay, I apologize. I had a slight interruption there. Can't remember where we left off. But you can see how this is still hung up over here. This is right why I didn't like entering in there. I mean, they're trying to bounce it back up and head to this other side. I mean, I do see two legs up, but now I see a couple legs down. There's a trap out the low side. There's a trap out, you know, there's a failed second entry long, but there's also a failed second entry short at this point. So, you know, just not a very good place to be entering, because you can get trapped in there. So, but that's about all you can say. It's, you know, it's kind of a slow range day today. I mean, we're getting back up here near 1700 again, and I imagine we're going to start, you know, getting a lot of resistance right there. It takes, you know, it usually takes a few times to get through a century mark, like the 100 mark. So But I still wouldn't be surprised if we don't retest this low here and make a measured move down compared to this one. So we'll just have to see. But you don't want to be getting short right here. You'd be better off to wait on a breakout pullback short or something of that nature. Of course, you may miss a good trade, but better to be safe than sorry. It's always better to be more conservative than more aggressive, because sometimes you'll pay a price for being aggressive. And again, sometimes by being conservative, you'll miss some great trades, but I would rather miss a trade, than get myself into trouble. And going back and looking at this trade, the only real reason I like this one, and I was tempted to make this trade green, but it went out look at that, all those matching highs that went out that top first and then went out that low side. That's not a good sign. And, but it might have been better just to wait on the breakout pullback short that came here, or the better one here. So I did make this one green. But that trend line was pretty obvious right there, and you can see that. And then when we broke above it, we came back and tested it right there, and there's a nice two-legged move up. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll be back to do this tomorrow and wrap this week up. But hope you had a good trading day. If not, I tell people this all the time. I know how it feels when you have a bad day and you're discouraged, but go home, sleep on it, come back tomorrow refreshed with a new mind and a new ready to start over and tackle it again, and just keep doing that each day. This is I'll see people, somebody sent me an email today and says, hey, I've been out this 5 months and I'm not even better than I was when I started. Well, I'll be honest with you, 5 months is a drop in the bucket to making it in this business. You don't make it in this business, especially learning to read a price chart, in 5 months. You have to compare this more to a professional degree. Imagine how long doctors go to school to learn their trade. Lawyers, how long do they go to school? They got to get an undergraduate degree and then a law degree. So 7 or 8 years for a lawyer, 8 to 10 years usually for a doctor or more. And those guys make the big bucks, but they have to put in their dues and pay their time. And trading is harder than that, in my opinion. You got to put in your time and pay your dues, and it's not going to happen in 4 or 5 months for most people. It's not going to happen in a year for most people. It took me about 2 years. So just understand that this is not easy. If it was, everybody would be trading and getting rich, and we know that doesn't happen. 90% of the traders don't make it based on everything you hear and read. And so don't give up. Just keep working at it. Keep hacking at it. If you're not making money every day consistently, you shouldn't be trading live. Get on the simulator. Learn on the simulator. This simulator of mine works exactly like the live market using the same data. So there's no reason to be trading. There are some simulators that I know that when it touches your limit order, it automatically fills it. And people will say, well, it's not the same as trading live. Well, if you have that issue with your simulator, go for 5 ticks. And that way that you got your 5 ticks. And so you can't, it's just an excuse to say the simulator doesn't work the same if you have one that works off the same data. So keep that in mind, because I've gotten that comment a few times. The simulator doesn't work the same. Well, mine does, and if yours doesn't, then if yours fills limit orders on touches and you don't feel like you're getting a true read of your trading, go for 5 ticks, and then for sure that it's working the same. That's an easy fix. So don't use that excuse. Go for the 5 ticks, and then you fix that problem. So anyway, that's enough for today. I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.